How cool would it be to take everything you know about dissecting network traffic, like you would with a tool like Wireshark, and bring it into the cloud, containers, hosts, and system calls? That's exactly the shift I'm talking about today with a tool called Stratoshark. If you handle cloud workloads, containers, or incident investigations, or if you've ever wished to have deeper visibility into what's really happening inside your systems, stick around. This one's for you. My name is Kat, and this is SysDig YouTube, where we help you stay secure the right way, so let's jump right in. So let's take a step back. What is Stratoshark? Well, in short, it's an open source app that lets you capture system calls, log messages, and cloud audit events, then analyze them in the same style you might analyze packets in Wireshark. Think of it like, instead of just looking at network packets, you're looking at what processes are doing, how files are being accessed, and how containers are interacting with the host operating system at a very deep level. It uses a familiar UI, it supports filtering and dissecting, so if you know Wireshark, the feeling will be pretty familiar. It builds on open source foundations. The project uses libraries like libscap and libsysp to capture system-level events. And its purpose is to give you deep visibility into cloud and host workloads, like containers, Kubernetes, or Linux hosts, any place where normal packet captures just don't tell the full story. Now you might ask, why do I need this? How is it different from what I already have? So traditional tools often focus on network traffic, which is great, or logs and metrics, also great. But today's cloud platforms have layers that are just invisible to those tools. Ephemeral containers, host kernel events, inter-process comms, file system access inside containers, and these require deeper visibility. Stratoshark fills that gap by letting you go inside the workload and host, seeing system calls and process execs all in one view. For example, let's say you have a container that keeps crashing or suspicious behavior in a host. Packet data might show network traffic. Logs might show that an error happened. But what happens if the container created a hidden process or a file was modified by root inside the container? Stratoshark can help you see that. Also, for people already familiar with Wireshark workflows like filtering, dissecting, and triage, Stratoshark lets you leverage those skills in the cloud and host domain, thereby accelerating investigations. So let's get a little more hands-on and walk through how Stratoshark works step by step. Step 1, data capture. On a Linux host or a container host, you generate a capture or a SCAP file using tools like SysDig or directly via Stratoshark on supported platforms. It records system calls, logs, or possibly cloud audit events. Step 2, analysis. You're going to go ahead and open the capture file in Stratoshark. You're presented with a list of events, each with metadata, process name, container ID or namespace, if applicable, user ID, arguments, etc. You can filter, dissect, follow streams, and just drill in. Step 3, filtering and investigation. Now you can use filtering language to highlight interesting events, like execs in containers, writes to critical files, network connects from unexpected processes, just like you'd filter packets in Wireshark. And finally, step 4, context. Stratoshark supports cloud logs like AWS CloudTrail via Falco plugins, enabling you to correlate system calls with cloud events. Why is this useful? Because problems often span layers, right? You might get a suspicious cloud API call plus a system call inside a container plus network activity. Having them in one capture tool helps your investigation. One quick note on platforms, Windows and macOS do have installers, but for full system call capture, you often need Linux. The UI, however, runs cross-platform. Now for my favorite part, use cases. One use case you might see is troubleshooting containers or host behavior. Let's say you have a container that fails intermittently. So using Stratoshark, you will capture system calls during the failure window, filter for exec or write events, pinpoint root cause, and there you have it. It might be a hidden process or a file access you weren't aware of. Or maybe your team suspects a breach. You want to know, what did the attacker do inside the host? What syscalls were executed? What files were modified? Stratoshark gives you those details. Another use case might be you get a cloud audit event. User role has been changed, S3 bucket accessed. But you also want to see what happened on the host. What system calls did the container make afterwards? Stratoshark helps link them. And finally, if you've used Wireshark for years, this is your chance to bring that expertise into containers and hosts using familiar workflows. So in short, DevOps, SecOps, incident responders, forensic analysts, container platform engineers, Stratoshark is applicable for everyone. So if you're ready to jump in, here's how you can get started with Stratoshark, as well as some tips to make it effective. To get started, visit stratoshark.org, download the installer for your operating system or get source for Linux. On a Linux host, capture a system call trace using sysdig or similar and save as scat file. Once you have that, just go ahead and open the capture in Stratoshark, explore events, apply filters, use follow stream, and identify anomalies. If you're interested in security workflows, you could layer in cloud logs or Falco capture. Now, some best practices you should keep in mind when working with Stratoshark. 1, begin with a small scoped environment, maybe one container or host, and familiarize yourself with what normal looks like in your environment. 2, use filters to reduce noise. Some good filter examples are focus on process execs, unusual user IDs, rights to / etc., etc. Make sure you save or share your capture files for collaboration. And finally, integrate with your security or incident response process. Point your team to Stratoshark as a complement to packet captures and logs. Also, don't forget to leverage your Wireshark knowledge. You'll get up to speed way faster. Of course, like any tool, there will be challenges. One of the challenges you might see is data volume. Capturing system calls or logs can produce huge amounts of data. Without good filters, you will get overwhelmed. Another thing to remember is to detect anomalies, you need to understand what normal system call behavior looks like in your host or container environment. Also, on non-Linux, you may not have full system call capture. Some features may require building from source or using Linux. And finally, while the UI is familiar for Wireshark users, underlying events like syscalls, host, or container context may be new for many. Practice makes perfect, though. Finally, a capture tool is only useful if someone looks at it and acts. Pair Stratoshark with alert workflows and investigation processes. If you acknowledge these challenges and plan accordingly, the payoff in visibility and investigation power can be significant. So there you have it, Stratoshark. It brings the power of Wireshark's analysis style into the world of containers, hosts, and the cloud by letting you handle system calls, logs, and audit events all in one environment. If you're dealing with modern workloads and want deeper visibility for troubleshooting, security, or forensics, it's a fantastic addition to your toolset. So go to stratoshark.org, download it, try capturing a small system, and go nuts. See what you discover. And if you like this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and drop us a comment. What's one weird behavior in your stack you'd love to capture and analyze? Thanks for watching, and as always, stay secure out there.